Never have I wanted something so much that I just can't have. This is FabFilters Pro L2. It's basically the best limiter plugin out there, in my opinion. I've used this in the studio before, but at home, that is a little pricey. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm stuck with Fruity Limiter, and honestly, it does the job. So this video is kind of like a part two to the one I just made on mastering, where I was talking about LUFS, loudness, the kind of non-processing part. I briefly mentioned span. Honestly, there's not too much to talk about here. Maybe I'll make its own video one day. But let's move on to the actual limiter. Now, I think most of you watching this know what a limiter is. It's just like an extreme version of a compressor, basically. It chops off everything at a certain part, and then you can use your makeup gain to get the right loudness, right? So this video is basically just about this knob right here, the output ceiling, because I also think there's some misinformation about what this does or like what you should do with it. Now, all the output ceiling is just the maximum amount that, like, it sets like the maximum output level. So like if I put this at negative 2 dB, then nothing on the master can pass negative 2 dB. It chops it off. It's like a brick wall. There's a lot of talk out there about what people actually do with this knob. So here's what I do. So first of all, you don't want to set this too low because it'll be audible. You'll be able to tell that it's not that loud. So most people, like in most cases, set this somewhere between 0.0, literally like up and down, which is technically not clipping, and like negative 1. I know some people I know who master set it at negative 1. Now, here's what you need to understand. It really does not matter that much. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but this will not affect the loudness that much because the human ear can't detect the difference between a single decibel. Like, not really, If we look right here on Google, this little website here comes up, and it says, see, 1 is an imperceptible change in loudness. So the truth is, and it's 3 dB before you barely are able to even notice it. 5 dB is where it's actually noticeable. The truth is, the actual thing that will determine how loud your track feels is the integrated LUFS, the thing we talked about last time. Why is it down here? Right here. That's what will actually determine it, and it's really quiet right now. So this output ceiling, just set it somewhere that feels right between 0.0 and 1. Now, 0.0, some people will argue that that's bad because any increase in volume and it clips. So I usually set mine at like 0.3, negative 0.3. But my recommendation actually is if you're using reference tracks, that's like the same genre, similar style, and you're trying to kind of match your track with that reference track, just see what they do. Literally just drag your track in, see where it's peaking over here, and do like the same thing. That's what I would do. I know some people are like, oh, YouTube compression is going to change that, but I've seen a lot of EDM producers, heavy dubstep producers, master at 0.0. Like, I've seen that before. Would I recommend it? I'm not sure. It really depends on what kind of style of music you're going for. If you're doing like a folk song or something that needs to be a little bit less heavy, probably closer to like negative 1 is good. You do need to set a limiting ceiling, but it's not the biggest factor. Just don't set it too low because then it'll actually be noticeable. The biggest factor of how loud your song feels is the LUFs, which I talked about last time. Just set this something that feels right. If you're not sure, just use a reference track. That's all I have to say. See ya.